Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So, let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent coach and mentor. And today I want to talk about when your co-parent parents differently. But before I dive into today's episode, I want to talk about a new ebook I have out that's just been released. It's called your Single Parent Dating Guide. It's an amazing 135 pages of dating goodness that covers everything to do with dating, from initiating the contact, going on a first date, maintaining a relationship, managing negative feedback or negative experiences in the dating world, and also when to introduce your new partner to your kids. So this little dating ebook has everything in it that you need when you're stepping back into the dating world as a single parent. Lots of great advice, and also, are you ready to date again? Are you ready to get back into the dating world? So check it out. It's on my website, lifeafterplus1.com. I'll also put the link in the show notes below for you. So it's all there, 135 pages of dating goodness. Grab it now. Let's dive into today's episode. So today, when your co-parent parents different. Now, it's a very common thing, isn't it? Because let's be honest, who parents the same as anyone? Even your best friend, your next door neighbor, your whoever it is, you don't parent the same as them. So there's a good chance you're not going to parent the same as your ex-partner, especially when you don't get along well. But how do you manage it? How do you manage it when they parent differently and there's things that just rattle you and piss you off? The kids go there and you're like, I don't like it when that happens. I don't like it when the kids are up late. I don't like it when the kids are on the devices. Or how do you manage it? What do you do? Well, there's not a lot you can do because you cannot change the way somebody else parents. And keeping in mind, if you're dealing with an ex-partner that doesn't communicate well with you, you're not on good terms, your co-parenting relationship is toxic, then what do you think your chances are of getting them on board to listen to your advice about their parenting style? It's going to be pretty minimal. And there's a good chance if you guys are not on good terms, they're not going to take it in a positive way. They'll probably look at it like an attack. How dare you judge my parenting style? How dare you tell me what to do as a parent? It's not going to go down well. But in saying that, if you do have a relationship with your ex where you can communicate, you may not be on the best of terms, but you can still communicate things. You can talk to each other. Then do that. I highly encourage that. If you're still at a place where you can talk to each other without getting in a fight, then find a way to communicate things and put some boundaries in place. Hey, listen, the kids should be in bed by this time, or I don't like the devices being used at this point, or after this time. Or if it's something that's of a big concern, mention it to them. Tell them. Put some boundaries in place. It could be to do with anything at all. And keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of differences, whether it be with the food they eat, their bedtime routine, sports, homework, anything. There'll be differences. There will be. It's going to happen. But you've also got to keep in mind the biggest thing to remember when you're co-parenting with someone who does things very different to you, is their parenting style different or is it wrong? That's the big thing you need to remember. Just because they're parenting different to you, it doesn't mean it's wrong. Because it would be quite easy to be rattled or pissed off at something that you see your ex-partner doing as a parent, and you just want to say that. You want to tell them how you feel about the situation. You want to say, fuck, I don't like that. I don't agree with that. But you need to stop and think to yourself, is something really wrong happening, or is it just different to what you would do? Because when it comes to parenting, especially when co-parenting, you need to be a little open-minded and you need to be flexible. Because if it's just something different, then you've got to learn, okay, that's their parenting style. The kids are not complaining. The kids are okay. They're safe. There's nothing wrong happening. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. But I've just got to deal with it. And that's how you've got to be. If it's just something different, then you've just got to take it on board. The only parenting you can control is yours. So if there's something happening at the other house that you don't agree with, you can't do anything. You just need to stay in your lane and focus on your house and your parenting style when the kids are with you. Because you might be sitting there thinking, fuck, that pisses me off when they do that. I don't like it. But there's a good chance they could be doing that about you. They could be thinking, fuck, I don't like it when they do this. Or they might be thinking exact same things about you. What you don't like about them, they might not like the same thing about you. That you might think it pisses you off you let the kids stay up so late. But they might be thinking, fuck, why does she make the kids go to bed so early? I don't like it. So what annoys you could also annoy them on the opposite end. So you've got to be flexible. If the kids are not in any harm or any danger and the kids are not bothered or fazed by it, then if you're disagreeing with the other parenting style, you've just got to learn to let it slide. Be a little open-minded. That's their parenting style. You don't agree with it, but remember, you can't change it. You cannot change it. And in these situations, every scenario is going to be different. You know your ex. You know the relationship you have. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's parenting style, co-parenting style, and the way they get along is different. Some are very toxic. Some could be great. You could still communicate. It still could be a nice friendship. Not everyone is like that. But you just need to work this situation around the relationship you have with your ex. If you have a relationship with them where you can't talk to them, you can't communicate well because it always ends up in fighting and drama and conflict, then you bringing up an issue about their parenting style is probably going to end up in the same way. If you have a decent relationship with your ex where you can communicate things and you can talk about what you agree with and what you don't agree with, you're able to put your emotions to the side and just focus on what is right for the kids or what's best for the kids, what's going to make them happy, then sit down and talk about it together. But the way you manage it will be based on the relationship you have with your ex. So just remember, it all comes down to how you currently communicate and how issues are currently resolved between you two. If they're not resolved effectively, then don't even bring it up. You just need to focus on how you parent. And it could piss you off like you wouldn't believe. It could be things happening like, oh, that fucking asshole, how dare they? Or I don't like that they're doing that. If you don't have a good communication with them, then it's just going to get worse by you bringing up something that you disagree with in their parenting style, because they're going to take it on board that you're attacking them. You're telling them what you don't like about them. They don't want to hear that. They already know that you don't like them. But what you can do in this situation is you can focus on your parenting style. You focus on how you parent your kids. You focus on you creating that healthy, happy environment when they're with you, making them feel safe, making them know that they're comfortable to be able to communicate things with you. Because if there is something that's happening at the other house that you don't agree with, if the kids are comfortable to speak up to you and to talk to you about things, then they will tell you what's happening at the other house that they don't like. If it's something that just you don't like, then they probably won't mention it because they don't care. But if it's something that they start to get annoyed with and something that they disagree with, then they will tell you. If you've got that relationship with your kids where you can talk to them and you encourage them to speak up about things, not in a nosy way, but in a way that you care. You want to know what's happening and you want them to talk to you when they don't feel comfortable about something, when something's not right in their world. So if they talk to you about something, what you do in this situation is you don't go run to your ex straight away. Oh, I told you you were doing this. See, you're a fucking asshole. How could you do that? That's not what we do here. If your kids bring up something to you that's happening at the other parent's house that they don't agree with, what you do is you tell them what you think should be done in that situation. You can tell them how you would handle that situation, and you can implement things on or strategies on what they can do and say if they'll put in that situation again. If it's nothing serious, then just keep going with it and just teach them ways to handle it. And teach them how to speak up when they're at the other parent's house. So if something happens that they don't like, they can say, oh, hey, mum or dad, that's not cool. I don't like that. Teach them to speak up, because it's quite common when kids are with one parent more than the other, they're not as comfortable to speak up to the parent that's not the primary carer. They're more inclined to have that open communication with the person or the parent they have the most in their life, which is the primary carer. So, but in saying that, it's still common for the parent who is not the primary carer, who has the kids the least, to still disagree with the parenting style of the primary carer. So what do you do in this situation? The same thing. You can only control what you can change. You can't change the other parent. You can't change anything they do or say. You just need to focus on having quality time with your kids when they're with you. If you have your kids and you're seeing something that you disagree with their mum or their dad, and you're spending that short time you have with your kids telling your kids what you don't like about the other parent, then there's a good chance that's going to make the kids feel really uncomfortable. No kids want to spend their weekend listening to one parent talk badly about their other parent. They may agree, they may not. Even so, that's still their parent. If the kids talk to you about something and they tell you something that's not right, then yes, deal with it. Talk to them, work through it with them. But don't force information out of them. It's only going to make them feel uncomfortable. No kid wants to sit there and bitch about the other parent unless something serious has happened that they're really not happy with. Because what we want to be doing is focusing on our kids being happy with both parents. It's not a competition as to which parent is liked more by the kids. That's irrelevant. The kids know that your mum, your dad, they love you both. They may love you in different ways. They may see things that the other parent does that they don't agree with, but they will still love both parents. It's not a competition. So if you're with the kids and you're disagreeing with something that the other parent is doing, your time with the kids should be spent purely on enjoying that time together, not focusing on, oh, what did mum do or what did dad do? I don't like that. That's not what you do. If you're disagreeing with the other parent, that's a you problem, not the kid's problem. Don't put it onto them. But just remember, it is always about being centered around the kids when you're co-parenting. So, as I just said, you may disagree with the parenting style of the other parent, but the kids may not have an issue with it. It is not what's best for you, it's what's best for the kids. So you've got to learn to realize that when you're in a co-parenting situation, there's going to be things that happen and things that you're involved in that you don't agree with. You're going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable with certain things when it comes to co-parenting. And it's hard, especially when it's your kids. But if your kids are not in a situation where they're being harmed, there's nothing to be concerned about, it's just something that you don't agree with, then you've just got to let that slide. You can't control somebody else. You can't change them. You've just got to focus on what's happening in your time with your kids. But if it is something that's really bugging you, it's really pissing you off, you really don't like it, and it's not just a simple thing about food or school schedules, it could be something a lot more. It could be a lot of different issues that's really got to the point, it's like, I've had enough. I can't deal with this anymore. Then get some further assistance. Seek mediation. Go to the point where you guys can both sit down together with a mediator and you can work it out together. But keep in mind, this can be useful, but you may have an ex-partner that doesn't want to cooperate and you may initiate mediation, but they may not cooperate. They may not want to do it. But there is no harm in trying. There is no harm. If it's at that point where you feel like you're just really not happy, there is so many different things happening that you just can't let slide, then that is an option. Initiate mediation, even if you have to do it another time. If you've done it once before when you first broke up, but if you're now at a point where you're not able to communicate effectively in regards to parenting, and they're things that you just can't let slide, you need to be able to come to an agreement, then mediation is an option. Have someone where you guys can sit down together and you can both voice your opinions on what you want and what your expectations are. Because keep in mind, because you disagree with their parenting style, it doesn't mean they agree with yours. They may be disagreeing with you for the exact same things that you disagree with them. So keep that open mind. And always remember, when it comes to co-parenting, is it just something that's different to your parenting style, or is it something that's really affecting the kids? Because if it is affecting the kids, then yes, take that mediation step. Don't force information from them. If the kids come to you and you've got that good relationship with the kids, which is what I've discussed in previous episodes, about having that open communication with them, encouraging your kids to speak up. So they will tell you if something's happening at mum's house or dad's house that they don't like, that they don't agree with. But you can't start calling up the ex and go, what the fuck are you doing? I don't like this. So just keep in mind that in this situation, focus on what you can control. You can control your parenting. You can control what happens in your house. You can control how you parent your kids. You can also parent them and teach your kids a way to handle situations that they don't feel comfortable with. You can teach them to speak up in a situation that they're not comfortable with. So if something does happen at the other parent's house, that they don't sit there and feel shitty about it. They let the other parent know. So just remember, when you're co-parenting and you're wanting to approach your ex about something, then you need to take into consideration the relationship you have with them. Because the relationship you have will determine whether or not you should bring it up to them or how you should bring it up to them. Because if you have that relationship where you just can't communicate with them and they're not going to take anything on board that you say, they're just going to think that you're attacking them and telling them how to parent, then I wouldn't even bother saying anything. Bite your tongue, stay in your lane, and focus on you being a good role model to your kids. Because that's what it's about. It's about being a good role model. It's not about being competitive. Oh, I don't like that they did that. I don't like that she did that. That's not what parenting is about. It's not what co-parenting is about. Co-parenting is making the kids feel comfortable and making sure the kids are happy. So if the kids are not complaining, then there is no issue. It's just that you're not happy with something that they're doing. Can you learn to let that slide? Are you unhappy with what they're doing because you're just still pissed off at them? You're still not happy with them. They're your ex. You're just going to hate them. You haven't let go of that past hurt. And so you've just still got a lot of anger there. So there's things that they are doing that you just can't overlook. But maybe they're things that somebody else will do and you probably wouldn't be fazed about it, but it's just pissing you off because it's your ex. You've got to learn to step back and trust that if they're a good parent to your kids, then that's all you need to focus on. That's all you need to focus on. Stop focusing on they did something shit. I don't like that. I want to be a better parent. I want to be loved more. I want the kids to like me more. I want the kids to spend more time with me. It's not a competition. That's a you issue, not a kid's issue. You don't want your kids growing up to hate the other parent just because you do. You need to focus on you and what happens in your time and what happens when your kids are with you. So is their parenting style pissing you off because you're just naturally pissed off at them? Is it pissing you off because it's just something different to you? Is it pissing you off because you see that the kids are happy and you're feeling a little jealous or left out? You're wanting the kids to be like that with you. Or is it pissing you off because the kids are upset? The kids are not happy. Then that's a fair reason. That is a fair reason. But even in that situation, even if the kids aren't happy, I would still be very cautious about approaching your ex about something. Because is it something minor that the kids are not happy with that can just let slide? Is it something that is really having a negative impact on the kids? If that's the case, then yeah, try and mention it. But again, you need to remember the relationship you have with your ex. Everything about this situation, about dealing with your co-parents parenting, comes down to the relationship you have with them. Now, me personally with my ex, there's lots of things that happen in my co-parenting relationship that really pisses me off, that I don't like at all. But he's not someone that is open to a healthy communication style. So there's a lot of biting my tongue on my end. And it's hard. It's hard. So you might be in a situation and be like, Leanne, but you don't get it. My kids come home and they're not happy, or this happens. I've been through every scenario you can possibly think of. So I do get it. I'm not brushing aside anyone. I get it. I understand. But you've also got to pick your battles, and you've also got to learn to teach your kids to communicate. So if something's not right, get your kids to communicate it, because sometimes it's not good to play that middleman. And again, especially if you don't have that relationship with your ex where you can communicate things with. If you have a relationship where you tell your ex something that your kids might have said to them or said to you about them, they may come back to you and think that you're lying, that you're making it up. They may think that you're twisting up stories. They may come back and start gaslighting you and come back with other bullshit that's totally irrelevant to the topic of conversation, just to try and make you look like a bad parent. So it's about picking your battles. Are you going to actually achieve something if you bring this up to them? And there's a lot of things, like I just said, that I don't agree with my co-parent. And you might think, well, why do you just let it slide? Because nothing is going to be gained by me bringing this up. So not every co-parent is going to be open to your point of view. And so that's why for me, in my personal situation, I just leave it. I can't change it. You know from previous situations and scenarios that you've been in with your ex that it hasn't gone down in a positive way, then if you bring up another scenario with them about their parenting style, do you think that's going to go down any differently? Probably not. Not probably not. It won't. It won't. For me, what I do on my end, I have a great relationship with my daughter where I can talk to her about anything. So if she comes home to me and something's happened that she's not happy about, then I will talk to her through it. I will communicate that with her. I'm also encouraging her to be more open when she's there, to communicate to them things that she's not happy about. Because it's not nice being in my situation where she doesn't want to tell them things that's happened, meaning my ex and his partner, but then she comes and tells me. Then I feel like I'm in a shitty situation because then I've got to now go and tell them what's happened, but they're not in a place where they're going to take my feedback on board. They're in a place where I'm the worst person in the world. Anything I say is going to be an attack. And so I wrote this message through ChatGPT, and it still came back with a negative response. I'm like, holy fuck. I guess it's just me. Even if I had someone else write that message for me, it probably would have come back with a similar response. I'm at a place that no matter what I say, it's going to be perceived in a negative way. And it's a shitty place to be, but you can't change other people. I can't change his headspace. I can't change his mentality. I can't change his parenting. I can only change me and the way I handle it. And I can only control what happens in my time with my daughter. And that's all I focus on. That's what I focus on. For me, having unnecessary drama or conflict is not worth the time. Because if I was to initiate something with my ex or initiate contact about what happened that my daughter's not happy about, that would 100% start a conflict. And I don't have the energy all the time to be in a fight with my ex. I don't want that. So for me, I steer clear. Sadly, for those of you out there who do co-parent with a narcissist, you will understand where I'm coming from. You can't make them see your point of view, no matter how nice or calm you're going to be with them. So in these situations, you just need to focus on what you can control. So is it just something that pisses you off, that you don't like, that you can just let slide? That's them. They're not going to change. They're not going to listen. That's how they parent. Whatever. I don't like it. I can't change it. I've just got to turn a blind eye. Is it a situation like that? Is it a situation where the kids are not happy, they're not liking it? Then you need to manage the situation with your child or your kids. You need to manage the situation with them. What is it that they're not happy about? What is it that you can do on your end to make it better without getting in the middle with your ex? And as shitty as that sounds, because really when there's a conflict with someone or when there's a misunderstanding, you want all parties involved. But unfortunately, not all co-parenting arrangements are healthy, and they're not all going to work the way that we hope they do. And especially when our co-parent parents different. So when in this situation, we've just got to step back and look at it. Are they parenting different? Can we just let it slide? Can we have an open mind and be a little bit flexible that not everyone is going to parent the same way as us, especially our ex? Is it just something that's different that we just going to have to manage and deal with? Or is it something that's very wrong that needs to be brought up? So just keep in mind, if you are in a situation where you do need to discuss this with your ex, you're not happy with something about their parenting style, keep in mind the relationship you have with them, because this will determine how you approach the situation. If you've got a shitty relationship with them, then good chance you're going to get a shitty response. If you have a decent relationship where you can sit down and talk, or at least communicate well by phone or text, 100% do that. But keep in mind, is your concern something worth expressing? Is it going to cause conflict? If you're criticizing another person's parenting style, is that going to cause them to get on edge? Is it something you can let slide? Is it really worth the stress? Can you just focus on how you parent when the kids are with you? Or do you really need to bring this up and change what they're doing? So there be things you need to take into consideration. And if it's something that you do need to let slide, then as I've said, just focus on encouraging your kids to be confident and feel safe enough to speak up when something's not right. And if something does happen at the other parent's house, then they will let you know, they will tell you. And that's what you want with your kids. That's what it comes down to. Don't rely on your ex to change things, because you can't change them. Use your kids when something's not right. And I don't mean it in ways and use them to be sneaky to the ex. Find out the information from them. If it's not right for you, find out, is it just you or is it not right for the kids? Because if the kids are not worried about it, the kids are not fazed, then why are you worried about it? Why are you worrying about something if the kids are not worried about it and they're the ones that's got to spend their time with them? Keep in mind that people are not going to do the same things as you. They're not going to manage their household and parent the same way you do, and especially your ex. So if you didn't get along in your relationship and you had a lot of differences in your relationship, then you're going to have those differences in your co-parenting relationship. Don't expect your relationship to be perfect because you've gone your separate ways and you're not together anymore. You're still going to have that uneasy relationship unless you've worked things out and you're pretty amicable together, which is great. So really, that's what it comes down to. When your co-parent is parenting different to you, just be open-minded. Different is not necessarily bad. It's bad when the kids bring it up to you and the kids are worried or the kids are not happy. That's when you can step in. That's when something needs to be done. Parenting different is nothing that you should really be concerned about if the kids are not worried. You've just got to learn to adjust that's how it is, and you just focus on what you can manage when the kids are with you. So that's about it for me. Believe it or not, this is the second time recording this episode. Had a thunderstorm. You may have heard it through the episode, to the recording. Thunder. I had to pull my headphones off multiple times because I was worried I was going to get zapped. It was a scary experience. So here I am, second time round. Thank you all for listening again. And as I say always, I really hope you all got something from this. I love sharing this with you all. I love sharing this information. And please give me your feedback. Give me anything you have. I love hearing from you all. And as I said from the beginning of the show, the new ebook is out now. It's available on the website. Link for that is in the show notes below. Thank you all, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in week after week. And I love you all. And until next time, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.